I'm Froggy, and this is a My Froggy Stuff mashup to help our new besties find some of our favorite videos. Today's theme is doll food! Paper. Tastes good. No, not really, but it is one of my favorite crafting supplies for doll food. So have fun watching some of our favorite doll food crafts. I am going to make a chocolate cake for a doll using plastic bottle tops, toilet paper, acrylic paint, water, cardstock, and glue. I start by finding the appropriate size plastic bottle top. I may even glue two together to get the desired height. Then I tear toilet paper into small pieces and place them in a bowl, add glue, a little water, and stir until it is the consistency of mashed potatoes. Begin applying it to the cap to add texture. After allowing it to dry, I paint it. I can also stack and glue different sized caps, cover it too with the toilet paper mixture, and paint it after it dries. To make a cake for a special occasion, seal it with a thin coat of a clear drying glue. To make a basic chocolate cake. For a little extra fun, cut strips of cardstock, cut a scalloped edge on one side, curl it around a toothpick, making small flower-like spirals. Arrange and glue a few on top, adding a few paper leaves and a brush of glue for shine to make chocolate roses on top. And you're done.
Happy crafting!
And today we thought it would be fun to make edible doll pies.
First, we have to make the pie pans.
Just like in our doll video, we're going to start out using a plastic cap and aluminum foil. Now that we have the pans, it's time to make the pies. Our pies are pretty much shortbread cookies. So we start out with a stick of butter, a cup of flour, a fourth of a cup of powdered sugar, a pinch of salt, and vanilla extract. Preheat the oven to 350. Mix the butter until creamy. Add the sugar and mix. Stir in a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then slowly add the flour. Oh, we forgot the pinch of salt. All right, there we go. Here's the salt. All right. All right, a little calmer.
Okay.
Now we have to let it chill in the refrigerator for about an hour. So now we can put it into our pie pans. And we're supposed to roll it out, but I think we can just kind of use it like Play-Doh and push it into the pans.
Oh, I love Play-Doh.
Yeah, it feels like Play-Doh. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it into my pan. Kind of push it in around the sides.
We're going to use fruit preserves for the filling.
It was the night of 1st November. And we knew we ain't getting any younger. All the things I still remember.
Using a little flour, I'm going to flatten out the dough to try to make a top for the pie. We tried doing the lattice, but that just wasn't working because we had to make it thin and it kept falling apart. I placed the dough on the blueberry. Hopefully I'm not destroying it too much. Then I use a toothpick to seal the edges.
They look so good.
They turned out pretty good. Yay! So now we gotta put them in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes and see what happens. Done. Yeah, that was more like 15 to 20 minutes. Yay! Pie! The pies are out of the oven.
And now it's time for a taste test.
They got a little bigger while baking. They did rise a little bit, and we don't know which one is which. So, how you know which one you want?
I know all the big ones are all 4 fruits.
Oh yeah, because you filled all
That's the only
those.
one I put in there.
Mine, I have blueberry, strawberry, and apple, and yeah. It's like, surprise pie! Alright, we're just
Don't
gonna...
cut that one. That one's already broken.
Well, I gotta cut one of them. Now we just gotta scoop it out without destroying it.
You're gonna destroy it.
Yep. Just dropped it. Alright, I'm gonna try another slice. Here we go. There it is! It's a little pie! I guess I go first. It tastes like jam, like preserves, and sugar. Yeah, not bad. It's like a sugar cookie-ish with lots of jam.
Okay, now I'm gonna try.
It's gonna spill if you try to switch hands. Just eat it.
It's good.
Is it?
It's just like a cookie with a bunch of jelly.
That's what I said, right? Usually I'm not the best cook. Believe it or not, I am horrible at cooking.
But you're really good at baking.
Well, I made miniature doll pies. Well, thanks for joining us on our miniature pie adventure.
And we'll see you next time on the Frog Blog.
I am going to make waffles for a doll using cornstarch, baking soda, food coloring, water, a spoon, a microwave-safe bowl, markers, chalk pastels or makeup, recycled paperboard, printables from our blog, a toothpick, and glue. I start by using paperboard to make a few tools. So I cut a rectangle, cut thin strips, stack and glue several together until the end forms a square. Make one larger for a larger doll to make the tools. In a microwave-safe bowl, combine 2 tablespoons of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and 1 tablespoon of water. Mix until creamy. Microwave for 15 to 20 seconds. Begin kneading when it is cool enough to touch. If the dough is too crumbly, simply add a little touch of water until it feels like Play-Doh. On a non-stick surface, use a glue stick to roll out the dough. Use our rectangle of paperboard to cut small squares into the dough. And I find it useful to lay a small piece of cut paperboard on top to keep them all the same size. After the squares have been cut, I carefully separate them. If the end of my cardboard begins to get soggy and wet, I just fold a piece of tape over the edge. Gently smooth out the rough edges using our square end tool. Gently press into the dough in neat, even lines. Allow them to air dry or bake in the oven at 175 until completely dried out. To make ice cream, add a drop of food coloring to the water for the cornstarch dough. To tint the dough, take a ball of dough. Using a toothpick, I begin to scratch the surface, allowing the excess dough to gather around the bottom. To make scoops of ice cream. While waiting for the cornstarch dough to dry, on a clear surface like a piece of clear plastic, color with a washable marker, add a clear drying glue like Mod Podge, mix together, use a paintbrush to position the glue onto the plastic and allow it to dry. Once the cornstarch dough has been dried and cooled, use chalk pastels to yellow it, then brown them. Seal it with a clear drying glue to make the waffles. Once the glue has dried, carefully peel it off, place it on the waffle for removable syrup that I store on the plastic when not in use. Add a scoop of ice cream to make it a dessert. I can leave the waffles yellow, cut out our printable waffle box, glue it to cardstock or another piece of paper, cut it out, cut on the short lines, fold on the long to make a box to store the uncooked waffles. And you're done.
Happy crafting!
I was walking around Michael's craft store and they had these food pillows for $5. This is a giant plush cookie. It's actually very, very soft. There's a hot dog, mega supersized fries, a double cheeseburger, but I am going to pretend like this is a veggie burger, and pepperoni pizza. I'm more of a pineapple pizza kind of girl, but it's pretty cute. We thought it would be fun to try to figure out how to make these for our dolls. And I learned about this really cool technique that quilters use to put photographs onto fabric, so they can make photograph quilts. But we're going to use it to make doll-sized food pillows. We are going to make a pizza and cookie pillow. I started by getting a pizza. I took pictures of it along with this cookie to make this printable. For this project, we will also need some thin white cotton fabric. I found this at Walmart for 97 cents. Freezer paper, I found this at Target for $3.19. An iron, so adult supervision is highly recommended. Mom? Dad? I need you for my Froggy Stuff craft. Pillow fluff, an inkjet printer, scissors, and a needle and thread. We are going to print this image directly onto the fabric. Say what? Yes, we are going to put fabric through the printer. This is my first attempt, so I hope it works, and I hope I don't break my printer. In other words, craft at your own risk. Before we put the fabric through the printer, we have to prepare it using freezer paper. Cut a large piece that is a little larger than computer paper. The freezer paper has a shiny side and a flat side. The shiny side is coated with a layer of wax, and that is the side we are going to lay face down onto the fabric. Using a hot dry iron, I iron the freezer paper onto the fabric. After it has been ironed and there are no wrinkles, use a piece of computer paper as a guide. Cut the fabric to the exact same size. So we have created a piece of fabric computer paper. I am going to feed this through my printer so that the printable prints directly onto the fabric. Before you do this, it's important to understand how your printer works, because you want to make sure that it prints onto the fabric side and not the freezer paper side. And if you're unsure, you can take a piece of paper, make a mark in the corner, then print a test page to see which side should be facing up. For me, I have to place it into the paper feeder with the fabric side facing up. And let's hope this works. Yay! It worked! I put it through my printer using all of my normal settings. I didn't change the paper type because this is a very thin cotton fabric. A few things that I learned for next time is that you should make sure your edges are super straight and super clean. You don't want any fraying because that can get caught in the printer. I had a lot of fraying in this corner and it got a little smudged. But for the most part, all of the area that I need looks great. I'm going to give it a few minutes to dry to make sure that the ink is set. And for this project, I think it is best that it avoids water. Printer ink and water are usually not friends. I peel off the freezer paper, carefully cut out the images, stack them good side to good side, take needle and thread, begin sewing a straight stitch all the way around the edge.
Always felt alright.
I try to keep my stitches fairly short and close together. I can see through the fabric a little, so I make sure that my line is on the inside of the cookie print so that when we flip it, we see only the cookie. I don't really want a white edge going all the way around my cookie. I stop about an inch from where I started so that I can turn it inside out, add pillow fluff, fold over the sides of the opening and pinch them together, sew it closed. When I get to the end, I tie the thread into a knot, push the pin through the pillow coming out through the center, and trim off the excess to make a doll-sized cookie pillow. Wow, could this day get any better? Let's try to make the pizza. Yes! Yes it can! Just as before, we stack them good side to good side. Starting on one of the flat sides, I sew around the edge, flip it inside out, add the pillow fluff, pinch the opening closed, and sew it up. The reason I started on the flat side is because I find it easier to close than on a curve. I had to take a little more time with the cookie. We added a few more pillow options to the printables and used a solid color on the back. It's like the pillow can read my mind. I would have liked for the colors to be a little more saturated, so I adjusted the printable and remade it. It's a little more golden brown now. These could also make really cute keychains. I'm going to use the picture at the top of the printable, cut out two and a piece of felt, lay the printables good side to good side, place the felt on top, sew around the edge, flip it inside out, and sew it closed. Sew a top stitch around the edge of the crust. This is going to make it pop out to make a pizza for the dolls to eat. And we could do the same thing with our slices to make a slice of pizza for the 18-inch dolls. It's the perfect size. On a piece of cardstock, I drew a 2.5-inch square, left a space of about 1/3 of an inch, then drew another 2.5-inch square, draw a 1/3 of an inch border going all the way around, cut it out, fold on the lines so that it looks like this. Make a small cut on the side at the corner, right here, 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 and here. Repeat on the other side, fold and glue the tabs to the sides, making a tray. Glue together the ends on the other side to make a pizza box. Use stickers to spell out pizza, add a little tissue paper to make a pizza box for our printable fabric pizza.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
It's like a dream.
It is time to get our cafeteria ready for Thanksgiving, so I am going to make a Thanksgiving school lunch. Using printables from our blog, recycled paperboard, cardstock, washable markers, acrylic paint, cornstarch, baking soda, water, craft foam, seasonings, chalk pastels, and glue. First, let's make the trays from our doll lunchroom video using recycled paperboard. Cut and glue 2 rectangles together. Glue a thin strip of paperboard around the edge to make a tray. Use strips of paperboard to divide the inside to make a lunch tray. Paint them to finish the trays. Now, let's make the food. I start by making cornstarch dough. Using 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, 1 tablespoon of water, stir, adding water if needed. Microwave for 20 seconds, then mix until cooled. Knead until it is the consistency of Play-Doh. Pull off a small amount, roll it into a ball, then press the bottom onto a flat surface. Push in the sides to square it just a little. Use a small piece of foil to add texture to the sides. Make several to fill a tray. Remove the tray and allow them to air dry or bake in the oven at 175 until completely dried out. Once they've cooled, lightly brush the top with chalk pastels. I'm using a golden yellow, followed by a touch of brown. Then lightly brush with glue to seal it. To make a tray of rolls, divide the remaining dough, cover a tray with foil, place the dough on top, sculpting to make a tray of mashed potatoes. Make a few individual servings and allow them to dry. Repeat to make stuffing, only this time I add in a few spices, like coriander to turn it brown, add a little parsley, and oregano. Place it on the tray using a popsicle stick to add texture. Make individual portions, then allow it to dry. Glue together a few layers of green cardstock, cut it into small pieces, glue them onto a rectangle of cardstock, then allow it to dry to make a tray of green beans. Cut craft foam into small pieces. On a plastic surface, color with a washable marker, mix in some glue and a little cinnamon. Mix in the craft foam, put plastic over a tray, then add some of the mixture and allow it to dry to make candied yams. Cut out the printables from our blog, glue the 2 sides of the turkey onto cardstock, cut them out, adding more layers to make the slices thicker. Then glue them together, overlapping. Mix a small drop of paint with glue, apply some of the glue on top, allow it to dry to make turkey with gravy. Make several to place on a tray. To complete the meal, place them on the lunch line, filling the trays with the individual portions, so the dolls can enjoy a special lunch.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Going to make an edible cake for a doll using marshmallow fondant. To make the fondant, we are using a microwave-safe bowl, marshmallows, food coloring, circle cutouts, powdered sugar, and water. In a microwave-safe bowl, add 2 cups of marshmallows and 1 tablespoon of water. Microwave for 30 seconds. They should puff up and begin to melt. Begin stirring the marshmallow mixture until all of the lumps are gone, making a marshmallow cream. While stirring, I begin to add 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Continue to mix. The more powdered sugar you add, the more difficult it becomes to stir. And this is very sticky. Add another 1/4 cup of powdered sugar and mix. At this point, it is definitely turning into a dough-like substance. It's not as sticky, but still a little sticky. Add another 1/4 cup of powdered sugar and mix well. At this point, it has become pretty much impossible to stir. So it's time to get our hands dirty. I dust my hands with powdered sugar, then begin kneading the dough. We can move to a powdered flattened surface and continue kneading until it has the consistency of Play-Doh. To make a ball of marshmallow fondant, I divide the dough into smaller sections, coat them in a layer of powdered sugar, and store in a Ziploc bag. Take out one, make a nest in the center, and add a drop of food coloring. Fold over the sides, closing the food coloring on the inside, and then begin kneading to mix the color. When the color is evenly mixed, evenly flatten it out or roll it, dust it with powdered sugar and a circle cutout. Push the cutout into the marshmallow, carefully remove it to make a circle of fondant. Set it to the side and cut out another. Take the leftover fondant and store it in the plastic bag. Take out another roll of fondant. This time, we are going to add yellow food coloring. Blend it just as before, then flatten it and cut out the circles. So far, we have made pink and yellow circles. Next for our cake, let's make green. And now blue. So now we have 4 colors for our cake, a pink, yellow, green, and a blue. I made 2 of each just in case I made a mistake. This way I have a backup. For my last ball of fondant, I am going to leave it white and roll it out thinner than the others. Cut 3 large circles. Three small circles. Now I can start putting the cake together. So I found these treat containers at Michael's. On the back it says that it is food safe, and I thought it would make the perfect cake stand for our dolls. I am going to use the back of my measuring cup for a flat surface so I can assemble my cake. Starting with a layer of pink, I add a tiny bit of water to the tip of my finger, place it on top, then add a layer of white. The water helps to glue them together. However, if you add too much, it becomes a sticky mess. And I'm going to add a little bit of water between each layer. So we just laid down the white, and now we're going to add yellow. Add some more water, another layer of white, then green, white, and blue. When I cut into my cake, I want the pink layer to be on top. So I'm just going to flip it over, add a little water to the top, take a thin layer of the white fondant and place it on top. Carefully smooth it around the edges of the cake. Use a butter knife to carefully trim off the excess. I take a strip of pink fondant and begin rolling it out. Place it around the bottom of the cake, and then I'm just using a little decorating tool to put little indents in it so that it looks like frosting. Add another one around the top. Take some of the leftover fondant, roll it into a cane, form it into small swirls, place it on top of the cake, and give it a little twist to make rosettes on top of the cake. Place it on the cake stand to make a rainbow cake. For a different style, I added the small circles on top of the large circles to make a two-tiered cake. Then I added a ribbon of fondant going around the bottom edge. I made some blue rosettes to go on top to make another edible cake for our doll-sized bakery. Now these are made of marshmallows and a lot of sugar. And they taste like marshmallows and a lot of sugar. And it is edible. However, we will be serving doll-sized portions. So I am going to carefully cut a piece of cake. And remember to always have adult supervision when working with sharp objects. I'm a little nervous. I hope it works. I had to be really careful and take my time cutting this because it wants to stick to the knife. So I probably should have powdered it with a little bit of or dusted it with a little powdered sugar. Yeah, and we can get it off there. See, it's super sticky. And it's squished just a little. But it has some great texture and it was a lot of fun to make. I just have to reshape the cake a little so we can have an edible cake for our doll parties.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Around me, I will give my love to you. But when I see you, when I get there, I could travel 1,000 miles just to feel your arms around me. I will give my love to you. But when I see you, when I get there.
After making our doll Shopkins room, we had tons of requests to see how we made the sushi pillow.
How did you make the sushi pillow?
It's so simple, you're gonna love it. Using black, green, white, cream, light green, and orange felt, a ruler, a needle and thread, or glue. I start by laying a ruler on a piece of felt, cut along the edge, to make a long strip. And remember to always have adult supervision when working with sharp objects. And you can always use a piece of chalk to draw a line before cutting, then brush any chalk off afterwards. Then repeat for all of the colors. Now I am going to start rolling the strips of felt. Just get a little bit of dark green, trim off the excess. I like to use a pen to stop it from unrolling. Then I'm just going to set that aside and go with another color. Let's go with green for like avocado. And then cream, and wrap the cream with a little bit of orange for the crab. Take all three, remove the pen, push them together, then wrap around them with white felt. You want to keep it pretty snug, followed by a layer of black. Trim off the excess. I can use glue to hold it in place, or a needle and thread. Now only the outermost layer is sewn down, so if you push on the center, all of the stuff will come out. So to prevent that, I can just take my needle and thread and push all the way through. Gotta be careful and very gently go back and forth a few times. And this will help to hold everything in place. Tie a knot in the string, then take the end and push it through the sushi and trim it on the other side. And this will keep all the strings on the inside. So we're pretty much making felt food with the pillow. It's really like a recipe for felt sushi. And when I first started crafting, I used to do a lot of felt food. And I thought this was perfect for the little Shopkins bed because, you know, they're made of food. However, we can come up with a few more uses. They make great pin cushions, Make it smaller to be food for an 18-inch. Ooh, I know! Build-A-Bear! I'm sure Wookiees would like sushi too. There's something stuck on your face there. I tried to make it smaller for like a 10 to 12-inch doll, but I don't know. It looks more like a multicolored hockey puck. We hope you have as much fun as we did making your own doll sushi pillow, pincushion, or play food. I am going to make a cup of frozen yogurt for a doll using printables from our blog, toilet paper, color paper or cardstock, beads, water, and glue. I start by cutting out the printable for the yogurt cups. Use a pencil to gently curl it. Apply a little glue, then overlap and glue the ends. Apply glue along the bottom, then place it onto a piece of white paper and allow it to dry. Trim off the excess paper to make stackable cups. Cut a strip of toilet paper. Using a touch of water, begin to twist at one corner of the toilet paper. Then I set it aside and allow it to dry a little. Take a scrap piece of paper and make a cone. I like to use the end of a paintbrush to get it started. Then I can shape the paper into the cone that I want. And the wider the cone, the more full the yogurt will be. Apply a clear drying glue, then begin to wrap the toilet paper around the cone. Allow it to dry, then trim off the excess paper and place it into the cup to make a cup of frozen yogurt. We cut out the waffle printables, take two and glue them so it becomes double-sided. Trim the edge jagged. Curl over and glue the edges to make a cone. Curl it around the yogurt to make a waffle bowl, or just add some to the yogurt cup. Cut out the spoon printable, glue it to a few layers of paper, carefully cut it out, make a small cut in the center of the spoon, push the sides in so they overlap and glue them in place. Give a slight curve to the handle to make a printable spoon. I can also trace the spoon onto a piece of colored cardstock to make different colored spoons. Use beads and glitter for toppings. Finely cut colored paper for sprinkles.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Is a quick craft. I am going to make a fruit cake for a doll using sponges, acrylic paint, clear colored beads, scrapbook paper, and a clear drying glue. I start by cutting a sponge. To get a small rectangle, paint it with brown acrylic paint. Once dried, add a small amount of glue to the crevices in the sponge, then push a bead into the glue. And I'm using different sized beads to fit the different crevices in the sponge. Coat it with a thin layer of glue. Once dried, place it on the wrong side of a piece of scrapbook paper, cut a rectangle around it, fold the paper to make creases, make cuts at the corners, fold over the sides and glue them together to make the wrapper.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
is a fun summer-inspired craft. I am going to make watermelon for a doll using a red pool noodle, white and green craft foam, acrylic paint, black micro beads or glitter, gloss Mod Podge, green cardstock, and glue. I start by cutting a small piece off the end of a foam noodle, and we can use the rest for the pool. Cut a wedge out of the foam, then cut the wedge into smaller pieces, making small triangles. Cut a strip of white craft foam, cut a strip of green cardstock, glue the craft foam onto the curved edge, followed by the green paper. Once the glue dries, trim off the excess. Use green acrylic paint to make lines on the sides to make the outside of the watermelon. Use a clear drying glue like Mod Podge to glue on glitter or micro beads for seeds. Allow them to dry. To add a little shine, I cover it with a layer of gloss Mod Podge.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Is a fun craft. I am going to make a creamsicle for a doll using craft foam, acrylic paint, flat toothpicks or craft picks, recycled paperboard for the pattern, and a clear drying glue. I start by drawing a popsicle shape onto a piece of paperboard. Cut it out to make the pattern using a thick piece of craft foam, and this one is measured at 5 millimeters. Place the pattern on top. Trace around it with the toothpick, leaving an impression. Cut it out. Use a pin to carefully poke a hole in the bottom. And always have adult supervision when dealing with sharp objects. Cut a toothpick and push it into the foam. Paint it. Cover the painted area with a clear drying glue. Make a small cut at the corner. Push it in with the nail to make it appear like the dolls have taken a bite out of the orange creamsicle. Paint them different colors for different flavors, like dark chocolate and milk chocolate. Cut craft foam into small pieces, glue them on the outside, and I very lightly tinted some Mod Podge with food coloring to seal it, to make a strawberry cheesecake ice cream bar.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
Going to make a fast food restaurant for a doll using a recycled cereal box, clear plastic from packaging, a newspaper ad, recycled cardboard, paper, paperboard, and glue. I start by tracing the cereal box onto a piece of cardboard. Cut it out, sketch a large double door, cut out the windows, remove the tabs from the top of the box, cut down one side so it can open up. Cut out a window, cover with paper, and I started by going around the windows with white paper. I used scrapbook paper to attach the side wall with a tan on top, black on bottom, and a white trim. Inside the box, I went with a lighter color and a checkered board floor. On the outside of the box, I used brick and tan paper. I cut clear plastic to glue over the doorway. Use a metallic scrapbook paper to cover the edges to make the door. Cut, cover with paper, bend it, and glue it above the door. To make an arch, glue trim around the window, add a small arch, cut and glue together 2 pieces of cardboard, and cut a smaller rectangle. Cover with paper, roll a paper tube, Make 2, wrap them with paper to match, cut out fast food ads from a newspaper, glue them on, use strips of paper for trim, and to make a small speaker at the bottom. Glue the paper tubes onto the small rectangle, glue on the sign to make a drive-through. On the inside of the box, cut a long piece of paperboard, cover with paper to extend the floor. Cut and cover cardboard to make a shelf for the back wall. Cut rectangles of cardboard, stack and glue a few together, cover with paper, glue the large rectangle onto the back of the smaller one, then glue the stack of cardboard on top. Glue beads underneath, cut out images from a newspaper or magazine, or printable labels from our blog. Glue them on top, add scrapbook paper, and a cut piece of a straw for a soda dispenser. Cut a long rectangle of cardboard and 2 thinner ones. Fold in the sides of the larger rectangle so it can fit on top of the thinner ones. Cover with paper, glue them together, use scrapbook paper for decoration, cut and cover 3 rectangles of cardboard, glue a cutout of a computer screen onto the large rectangle, glue the rectangles together to make cash registers, and complete the counter. On a piece of covered cardboard, glue down more of the ads, glue it across the top for the menu. Take the cutouts from the window and door, cut them to make sure they can fit inside the box. I trimmed the cutout from the window to use as a tabletop, bend the door cutouts, using a doll as a guide, trim the door cutouts for chairs that can fit underneath the shelf. Cover them with paper, glue them onto the wall, adding a triangle of cardboard underneath for support. To make a seating area, cut out a picture of food, glue it to the wall to show the special of the day. Add our paper burgers from a previous video,
and you're done.
Happy crafting!
Here is a quick craft. I am going to make a smoothie for a doll using a recycled muffin container, silly putty or slime, ew, and a paper clip. I start by taking an empty muffin container. On the top lid, there's usually a hole right in the center. When I open it up, I see that it makes a cone. Carefully cut it out, trim it down until it makes the perfect glass for our dolls. Add some slime, take a paper clip, open it up, use scissors to score it, remove the plastic coating, push it into the putty to use as a straw for a doll-size smoothie. Since putty does dry out, you have to put it back in the container when not in use. And now our dolls can have smoothies whenever they like. We can switch out the putty for different flavors. Kale. Looks yummy. And we could take a small amount of putty and add some black beads, place it in the bottom of the cup, add some more putty on top to make bobas. And when playtime is over, store the putty or slime back in the container until another day.
And you're done.
Happy crafting!
For joining us for this delicious My Froggy Stuff mashup, and let us know what mashups you would like to see in the comments down below. We have new videos every day. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at My Froggy Stuff and The Frog Vlog, and we will see you next time. Bye!